When does gaming become a problem? Is it how long we play them, what types of game we play, or is video gaming by definition a bad thing? It's not a hidden fact that more youth today are engaging in online activities instead of playing outside. Does this mean the next generation is doomed? Let's find out on today's episode of Subliminal. With the newest release of the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, the DSM-5-TR, it is the first introduction to a diagnosis called Internet Gaming Disorder, still under research and evaluation. For clarification, the DSM is the most widely used tool to diagnose patients in the psychiatric, mental health, and medical worlds in the United States. We will also be using the ICD-11, written by the World Health Organization. But what is internet gaming disorder, and how do I know if I have it? Before we dive into the world of diagnosing, there are several things we have to discuss first. The most important thing is, do not use this video to self-diagnose or diagnose your child or loved one. If you have suspicions that you might fit into this category, please see a licensed mental health professional. And if I wasn't clear before, don't diagnose yourself or anyone else with this video, and as a matter of fact, just don't use any other video on the internet to diagnose. So, soapbox put away. Let's talk about the world of play. Not even 30 to 40 years ago, video games were in their infant stages. During this time and times before, play consisted mainly of things that were physical in nature. Whether it was playing outside, with toys, board games, puzzles, and most importantly, imagination. Over the last 10 to 15 years, play in leisure time has transitioned from these things into a more virtual space, whether it was watching TV, playing video games, scrolling through social media, or browsing YouTube. In fact, the APA mentions that at least one person plays video games in over 2/3 of American homes. Many people, especially generations that grew up in a time where this virtual space didn't exist, are quick to harshly judge the massive amounts of time spent on a phone, television, or gaming console. Likewise, younger generations are quick to accept it as the new normal and dismiss it altogether. The reality is that times have changed and we are in a new era. It simply means that we must provide ourselves with good, legitimate, and sound education on what makes a new thing bad or good. This may mean not trusting every Facebook article you see or every report in the local news. The new era we are in is a digital one, and research shows that video games actually have several benefits to them, but that's another video. Back to our main topic. When does gaming become unhealthy? The American Psychiatric Association, in their article explaining internet gaming and when it becomes a problem, mentions that this diagnosis is still under testing and research. Thus, once again, do not diagnose yourself or anyone else with this disorder. The internet gaming disorder diagnosis fits within the behavioral addictions category. A behavioral addiction is something that an individual does over and over, like gambling, which can be an addiction and diagnosis in and of itself. In order to figure out what makes gaming a problem, we'll be looking at the initial research done by the DSM and the latest release of the ICD-11, the International Classification of Diseases written by the World Health Organization. The criteria for a mental health professional to diagnose someone with gaming disorder, according to the ICD-11, are as follows. Gaming disorder is characterized by a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, which may be online or offline, manifested by impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. Now that was extremely wordy and medical, so let's break it down. The moment gaming becomes a problem is when it starts to take over your life. It's the only thing an individual wants to do. It's taking the place of things that are important, like school, work, family, and other relationships. And even if there are negative consequences, the gaming still continues. With this definition we have now, it can begin to shed light on whether or not gaming might be negatively impacting an individual. I want to make sure that everyone watching this understands that what I did not say is that there are a certain amount of time spent per day playing video games is what makes it a problem. In fact, there are several people out there making a living off playing and creating video games. I also did not say that video games are the very best way to spend your time. The reality is that, as with most things, we need to make sure that we are dedicating enough time throughout our day and week to the things that are most important to us, but also the things that are necessary. I understand that school, homework, and a job are probably not interesting, not challenging, and don't always give us the same satisfaction we get when playing a video game, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do them. So, gamers, when you show this video to your parents or friends to prove them that your gaming isn't a problem, also acknowledge that they may have some valid arguments for you to spend your time doing other things. But non-gamers, when you show this video to your kids or friends to prove them that their gaming is a problem, evaluate how much time you spend watching TV, sports, scrolling through social media, or any other digital outlet before you judge too harshly. I feel like I have to say it again, so I will. But don't use this video to diagnose yourself or others. But do use this video to evaluate how much time and energy you spend gaming. And if it has begun to really negatively impact everything and everyone around you, maybe take a step back from the desk. I'd also encourage both gamers and non-gamers to talk about their perspective on gaming to help each other understand the other. Comment down below on how gaming has been a positive experience for you. And while you're at it, like and subscribe. And as always, keep learning, keep playing.